everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name's Ashley and this is Crafts with Ash. Today I'm bringing you 3 Dollar Tree Farmhouse fall DIYs. Let's get started. For the first one, you will need a wooden pumpkin from the Dollar Tree, some wooden letters. Now I got mine from the Dollar Tree, and then the smaller ones I actually got from Hobby Lobby, some leaves, and some floral wire. So first what I did was I took some elephant gray paint from Apple Barrel and I gave this pumpkin a nice coat of that. After my pumpkin was all dry, I went back and took Waverly chalk paint and a really good paintbrush, but a used paintbrush so that the bristles are kind of wild and everywhere. And I'm going to dry brush some Waverly chalk paint onto this pumpkin. So I dipped it in my paint and then I dabbed it on the plate and then I painted it. Now you can see I started going across, but then I realized I wanted to go in a round shape to go follow the shape of the pumpkin. I went in with my Waverly Antique Wax and I dry brushed that on there as well. So I took a smaller brush, again used and wild, and I dipped it in my cap where a lot of paint was, dabbed it on the paper towel, and then dry brushed the edges first, and I went all the way around. Then I started moving into the middle, still keeping with that round shape. I purposely kept it kind of heavy in some parts because I wanted this to look like a rust look in the end. So I got a little heavier on some parts and I didn't even worry about wiping it off because I actually really loved that. Next, I took my wooden letters that I got from the Dollar Tree and spelled out the word thanks. I know the K's not in there, don't worry, I did realize that I forgot it. But I took my Waverly Antique Wax and I gave each of the letters a coat of that. Now you are going to see me wipe it off with a baby wipe. Do not do this step. I realized it made the letters way too light and I had to go back and repaint them all. So just put a nice coat on each of the letters and do not wipe any off. Also, quick tip, holding the letters down with a skewer helped so much. Next, I went ahead and took those leaves and I painted those in the Waverly Antique Wax as well. I'm trying to accomplish the rust look on these too. Okay, so the rest of the painting was really me guessing on how to achieve this rust look. I really wanted to try to figure it out without researching it. I know that sounds crazy, but I was just trying to play with my colors here. So I took some Christmas red acrylic paint, I took some Waverly Antique Wax, and I took some black acrylic paint and basically mixed them all together until I got the right rust kind of look. Next, I grabbed my pumpkin again and I added some of this color on the edges. And then I started working a little bit in the middle as well. Again, I purposely made some parts heavier than others because I really loved that look. Next, I grabbed my small letters that I got from Hobby Lobby and painted those in that same color as well. Next, to achieve that rusty look, I grabbed a sponge, I cut it a little piece off and cut that in half, and then I just lightly dabbed some Waverly Antique Wax on each of the letters. I liked this look so much that I went ahead and did it on my pumpkins and the leaves as well. Then I took my sanding block and sanded the whole thing down just to make it blend. Then I realized that I accidentally sanded away all the texture that I just did with the sponge, so I went back and redid it. After I was done painting, I took this wire, it's very thick, and I wrapped it around a paintbrush to get the look of a tendril for my pumpkin. Next, I arranged that and my two leaves how I liked it and hot glued them down. I ended up adding some duct tape to the back of the pumpkin to hold the wire down even though I hot glued it, just to give it some extra support. Next, I took all of my letters and arranged them on the pumpkin how I liked it. Now, this piece was actually inspired by something from Hobby Lobby, so this is how they had it. They put their bigger letters at the bottom going straight across, and then the smaller letters right above that but off to the side. And there we go, a Farmhouse Give Thanks pumpkin sign. What do you think? The next craft we're going to do is a standing fall sign. Let's begin. First, you're going to need this scarecrow sign from the Dollar Tree. Then some jumbo popsicle sticks, and these letters that I got from Walmart. I got an F, an L, and an L. Then a pack of leaves and some 3D pop stickers. The first thing you're going to want to do is pop off that welcome sign. It comes off very easily. Then you want to flip the sign over and get the staples out of the back that's holding the little twine hanger. I noticed where the staples were was a little bit rough, so I went ahead and sanded it down with my sanding block. Then I grabbed my apple barrel chocolate bar paint and I gave this sign a coat of that. After that was completely dry, I took my Waverly chalk paint and that same brush I used in the first craft, the one with the wild bristles, and I gave this a light coat of the chalk paint. I'm barely pushing down on the board, and as you can see, I'm not giving it full coverage. Then I took my level that I got from the Dollar Tree and a Sharpie paint marker, and I drew lines on either side of the level going all the way down my board. Then to soften the black lines, I took my brush. I didn't even dip it back into the paint. I just dry brushed right over it. Next, I took one of the leaves out of the pack and I painted that white. After that, I took my letters and arranged them on my board. Now, at this point, I was putting them horizontal, but as you'll see in a minute, I actually changed them to go vertical. Next, I took 2 of the jumbo popsicle sticks and I measured them down on each side. Then I went ahead and cut off the rounded edges to fit the board. Then, to make the edges nice and smooth, I took my sanding block again and just sanded the edges down. Next, I painted each of the sticks with my Waverly chalk paint. After that, I glued down the F, the L, and the L. So this is where I realized that I liked where this was going, but I didn't love it. So I grabbed those 2 popsicle sticks and I decided I'm going to give them a galvanized look. The paints I used were black acrylic paint, Apple Barrel Elephant Gray, Apple Barrel Nutmeg Brown, and Waverly chalk paint. Then I took a little part of a sponge, dipped it in the gray, dabbed it off on the plate, and lightly started dabbing each of my sticks. Then I just continued this process, switching between all of the colors, mixing them, dabbing them. This is just kind of to your taste. You just have to decide how you like it and how dark you want it or how light you want it. This was actually really fun to do. I love making things look like it's galvanized. Then, by using the end of one of those foam brushes, I dipped it in the black acrylic paint and put 2 dots on either side of the paint sticks. After my paint sticks were dry, I went ahead and hot glued them onto my board. Now to attach my leaf to the board, I took these pop-up stickers and I hot glued 3 of them to the leaf and then flipped it over and pushed it down. Now I did put hot glue on both sides of the stickers, even though the stickers are obviously sticky, just to give it an extra hold. Then I actually love that galvanized look so much, I galvanized my leaf. And here it is, my standing fall sign. What do you think? Our last craft is an acorn sign. Now this is actually a dupe from Dollar General. So first you're going to need this unfinished wood acorn sign from the Dollar Tree. Then you're going to need a cookie sheet, some stickers. I did not end up using these, but those ones are from the Dollar Tree. Some raffia, some Waverly antique wax, some white chalk paint, and this decal from the Dollar Tree. Now, if you can't find this decal, you can always use a paint marker to paint this part on. The first thing I did was give this acorn a nice coat of the Waverly chalk paint. Next, I took that cookie sheet and I cut the entire middle section out of it. Now the middle of this cookie sheet, it has ridges on it, so I made sure to only have that part. So I cut off any of the smooth border. Next, I traced just the top of the acorn on the cookie sheet. Now I only traced around, I didn't even trace the stem because we're going to leave that white, but I only traced the top part. Then I cut it out. Then by using these super cool brand new scissors that have the curved blades, I went ahead and cut out the shape of the top of the acorn. So I gave it scalloped edges. Then I went ahead and I took my elephant gray apple barrel paint and I gave it a coat of that. Once that was completely dry, I took the same brush I was using that I painted the acorn. I didn't even dip it in any other paint, and I just used the paint that was on it and gave it a light little coat. Then I dried that, dipped my brush into the antique wax, and lightly brushed the tops of the bumps, if that makes sense, with the antique Waverly wax. Then before hot gluing it on, I kind of took my hands and I made it a round shape. So it's 3D. Then I only put hot glue at the top and on the sides. So I'm only pushing it down at the top as you see there and then going down the sides. So I did not put any hot glue on the bottom where the scalloped edges were. Next, I took my sticker letters. These ones I believe I got from Hobby Lobby, and I spelled out the word grateful. Then from this decal, I'm only going to use one little piece of the vine, but there's two of them, but they were attached to the whole decal, so I had to cut them both off. Then I placed them at the bottom of my word grateful. After placing my stickers where I liked them, I went ahead and gave this a nice coat of Mod Podge to protect the paint and the stickers from coming up. Lastly, I finished off my piece by taking some raffia and making a bow. To do this, I just took multiple strands of the raffia and made 2 bunny ears and tied a bow just like you would tie your shoelaces in kindergarten. Then I went ahead and hot glued it to the bottom of the stem where it meets the aluminum and cut off the tails to make them a little shorter, and that was it. My piece was finished. And there you have it, my grateful acorn sign inspired from Dollar General. What do you think? I absolutely love how all of these pieces come out. Even that fall sign, I really didn't think I was gonna like it, but once I added that galvanized metal look to the top and the bottom and the leaf, I loved it. You're gonna have to let me know in the comments which one is your absolute favorite. I wanna thank you so much for watching my channel. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, then hop on Facebook and give my Crafts with Ash page a like and a follow. Thank you so much for joining me, and until next time, I'll craft with you later. Bye!